Hi, this is Cliff Bramble from the business side of restaurants, and I am here to say thank you very much and welcome to chapter number 9 that I'm going to go over. And this book has just been released on Amazon.com. You can purchase it there. If you're looking for a PDF version, you'd have to go to hungryhospitality.com. And I also have a hardcover coming out as well, so that'll be out in probably 6 or 8 weeks after the this final paperback has been completed. So on this chapter, on chapter number 9, we are talking about the inspections. And when I talk about inspections on this in this chapter on these pages, on starting on page 82, I have the book over here. I'm kind of referring back to it, and hopefully it's something that you enjoy listening to, just so you can get a good version of what the chapter is about. But this one here is, I start with who likes an inspection. And how many times have you been in a restaurant? I personally have been in a restaurant when somebody says, "Oh man, the food inspector or the health inspector's here or the fire inspector's here." It's never fun. And it's always highly stressful, and the results can actually make or break you. And I've seen it both ways. I've seen it be very successful, but I've also seen it be very poorly. And it's never a fun thing. But trying to make it fun and make it easy is really the manager's part. And if you can do that and have your line checks and have everybody always paying attention to all the details, then when a health inspector walks in, you should say, "Hey, come on back. Welcome. Let's just go check it out." So, and that's really what I'm talking about in here. But it also has to do, if you're building a restaurant, it's the early inspections by building inspectors in the local counties, that they are going to come out, and they are going to be speaking with your general contractors as well, because they're going to want to see the plans. Getting back to the last chapter, if you don't have the correct general contractor, if they're not or familiar with, like, for example, special instructions, special inspections, well, that could create a problem for you as the restaurant owner. And the longer that you are put off of getting this restaurant built, the more it's going to cost you as well. So the first inspection I talk about on page 84 has to do with the health inspecting. And I've seen two different roads. I've seen great ones and I've seen really, really bad ones. I've seen experienced inspectors walk in and help the chefs and help the general managers and kind of educate them, which has been really, really smart on their behalf. But at the other time, I've seen very young health inspectors walk in, and they've got the flashlight on their head, and they've got all the gear hanging from their neck, and they've got 3 or 4 things strapped to their belt. I mean, they could be going for a 10-mile run as far as I'm concerned, but instead they're going into a kitchen checking it out. And they've got the thermostats coming out from every single pocket that you name. So the part is I say that in fun, but at the same time it's seriousness too, because you're serving food, and it has to be the everything has to be to code, and the temperatures have to be correct, because we don't want anybody to get sick. But more importantly is when you do have that young person walk in, and it's their first 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 inspections, and they're there for 3 or 4 hours. It's never fun. I've seen it happen to me. I've seen it happen when I've had 250 reservations on a 6 o'clock on a Friday night, where they walk in and the health inspector decides to do a 3.5 hour health inspection. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it wasn't fun. And to be honest with you, I failed that one. I failed a health inspection. So there's going to be a time in your life, if you have a restaurant, that you probably will fail a health inspection. There's nobody to blame but yourself as the owner, or the management that is supposed to be taking care of everything. But if you're the owner, you should have systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, on the other hand, I've got great inspections as well. Hundreds, 99, 98, and those inspections have been always perfect. So it just depends on the inspection and the inspector themselves. Now, when it comes to the fire inspector is going to walk in. Either they are going to give you the certificate of occupancy, or the CO. They are going to be involved in the pre-opening, and they're going to give an inspection before you open, because you can't open without a CO. Now, on the other hand, after you've been open for a year, they're going to be coming in, and they're going to be just doing an inspection. And that's what this chapter talks about, and this page on page 85 talks about. It talks about what they're looking for. They're looking for blocked entrances. They're looking for the fire extinguishers. They're looking for the Ansel system. They're looking for anything that really pertains to a fire. If you change something, they may know it because if it's a same inspector time and time again, they may walk in and say, hey, wait a minute, where do those curtains come from? And if those curtains are not fire rated, they may ask for the documentation for that as well. So the fire department, usually they're pretty simple, as providing that you haven't changed anything and no doors are blocked. If they do give you items to correct, you should get them corrected as soon as possible. And that talks about that as well. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this particular chapter is government inspectors. And they can walk in at any given time. They can ask for example, if Homeland Security walks in, and that's what this chapter talks about. And that Homeland Security, if they walk in, again, it goes back to your systems and your processes. If your systems are in place in your HR, you shouldn't have any issue. But I do talk a little bit about that. I don't go into too much detail, but once you've been inspected by a Homeland Security person, you're probably going to be on higher alert the next time so it doesn't happen again. So that's what I have in this chapter. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to buy the book, it's on Amazon.com, and we'll see you at the next chapter.